Paratmanamekam Jagadbijamadhyam Niriham Nirakaram Omkarvedyam Yato Jayate Palyate Yena Vishvam Tamisham Bhaje Liyate Yatra Vishvam. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. Dear devotees, so we were studying the 10th chapter of the Gita and we have finished the first 26 verses. So before we proceed, let us just recapitulate what we studied in the last couple of weeks. Again, just as a reminder, if you all remember, the main topic of the 10th chapter of the Gita is the different divine manifestations which Sri Krishna is presenting to you and me. For what? To facilitate meditation. Because meditation is an inseparable discipline in spiritual life. There cannot be spiritual life, progress in spiritual life, without the practice of meditation. So you might have noted there is a beautiful word which comes here, where Sri Krishna says, Mam sada parichintayan. Chintanam. Chintanam means it can be taken as thinking, or more appropriately in this context, it means dhyanam, meditation. So Chintanam, meditation. But what kind of meditation? Parichintanam. Parichintanam means always with the mind connected with the divine. Mam sada parichintanaya. Always connected through meditation with the divine. Now, in order to facilitate this, Sri Krishna is presenting to us the different divine manifestations. As I said in the earlier classes, it is not that the divine is manifested only in these forms. The divine is manifested in every single grain of this creation. But as we are unable to see it in everywhere, in everything, first we have to train ourselves in seeing in certain things where divine is more manifested. It is a training which Sri Krishna is giving to you and me so that we can slowly grow in the direction of seeing the divine, first in particular things, then in more, and finally in everything. And the climax will be that we see that Ishvara alone is existing. There is nothing existing apart from Ishvara. This is the whole spirit of this so-called the 10th chapter of the Gita, so beautifully presented to all of us. So the first 11 verses we have seen, where Sri Krishna has given us the entire blueprint, the blueprint from the starting to the climax, where the so-called the spiritual aspirant, in and through his or her one-pointed devotion, a beautiful word, bhajatam satata yuktanam, evam satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam. These words are extremely significant. Sri Krishna is saying this spiritual aspirant who is satata yukta. See, this is the main striving to be constantly in touch with the divine. The main struggle of the spiritual life is to discover our eternal connection with the one who is residing in our own hearts. It is the striving of the bubble to discover that bubble's eternal, not artificial connection, a connection which we forge. It is the natural, organic connection of the bubble with the ocean. Only it needs to be discovered. If the bubble doesn't know it, that is the problem. Not knowing is the problem. You and we are all just like small bubbles, and we are organically, naturally, inseparably connected with the divine this very moment. The problem is that we are not knowing it. To discover this is the whole struggle. How to do that? Develop that right drishti, which comes only from the Shastras. It cannot come from any other source. It has to come from the Shastras and from the Acharya and from the Guru. And then be devoted to it. That steadfastness in that vision that every bubble has got the ocean as its very base. This vision. And in this one-pointedness. And then we struggle to keep our mind on that reality through meditation. In this way, when the spiritual aspirant constantly keeps his mind on the divine, Sri Krishna says, this spiritual aspirant will be blessed with something amazing. Buddhi Yoga. Buddhi Yoga means illumination, enlightenment. The enlightenment through which the darkness of ignorance is dispelled. And the light of knowledge, the lamp of knowledge is ignited in the heart of that spiritual aspirant. So beautiful. This is what Sri Krishna had presented in the first 11 verses, the entire blueprint of the spiritual aspirant in and through devotion and the right vision, culminating in complete illumination. And after having heard all these things, just like a very good student, Arjuna is asking this question to the teacher, Sri Krishna, that how should I address? Oh, venerable teacher, you have told these wonderful things about illumination, but I want to know certain things in more detail. What is that I want to know? Keshu keshu bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. He says in the verse number, beautiful, he says, Katham vidyamaham yogam tvam sada parichintayam keshu keshu shubhavishu chintyosi bhagavan maya. This is the question. Arjuna is saying, Hey Krishna, hey venerable teacher, Katham vidyam aham yogam. How is that I am going to know you? See, it's the question of knowing, knowledge. You means the divine. Krishna is what? Parabrahman, nothing else. There is no Krishna existing separated from Parabrahman. We should know this point. There is no Krishna, no Ramakrishna, no Rama, anybody existing separated from Parabrahman. It is all Brahman and Brahman alone, manifesting in different forms. So Arjuna is asking this question to Krishna, how is that I am going to know you? Katham vidyam aham yogim tvam sada parichintayan. How am I going to know you? Constantly meditating on you. For that, keshu keshu cha bhaveshu. Which are those objects on which I can easily fix my mind upon? Keshu keshu cha bhaveshu chintyosi bhagavan maya. Which are those objects on which I can easily fix my mind? So the rest of the verses are only Sri Krishna is presenting to us those certain selected sample objects or entities belonging to different categories and groups where the divine is seen to be manifested more. And then the discussion starts from verse number 20. From the 20 onwards, the description of the so-called the divine manifestations start. And if you all remember, I had stated this, the basic principle to understand all these verses, going back to the 41st verse, where Sri Krishna says, Yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam, Srimat urjitamevava, tat tadeva avagachatvam, mama tejo ansha sambhavam. Krishna is saying that, you see, wherever you see three things blazingly manifested, Yad yad vibhuti mat, wherever any entity which is full of vibhuti, full of divine manifestation, tremendous majesty, and Srimat, abundance. Abundance not only in the sense of prosperity or material terms, but wherever you find any entity with great qualities, great virtues, values, and wherever you see tremendous energy getting manifested, energy, vigor, know that there I am specially present, and what you are seeing is only a small grain of my infinite majesty. So this you can see in the so-called transactional plane. Wherever we see such majesty manifested, tremendous energy manifested, all in good sense, okay? And great abundance manifested. Know that it is the divine's special manifestation, that it is just a small grain of that infinite divinity which is the base of everything. So this is the basic principle to understand the verses starting from 20th verse onwards. We had seen this. And now, in answer to Arjuna's question that which are those objects on which I can easily fix my mind upon, the first and the most important thing, what Sri Krishna says is, that is the main thing. Ahamatma Godakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitah Ahamadishcha Madhyamcha Bhutanam Anta Evacha. So beautiful. That first line is the most important thing. That is the essence of the whole of the Vedas. How is this divine Brahman manifested here? In the form of the Atman residing in each of the living entity. Ahamatma Gudakesha. I am manifested in the form of the Atman residing in everybody. And how is this Atman to be meditated upon? It should be meditated upon as residing in everybody. Now you listen to the teachings of all the great Mahatmas, starting from the Rishis of the Upanishads to our own times, Ramakrishna, Ramana Maharshi, or anybody. Everybody's teaching is the same. Shiva Jnane Jiva. Inside the Jiva, who is residing? It is the Atman, Shiva. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitah. That is the main thing. Shankaracharya says here beautifully, if that is the main thing, then what is the point in giving this long list of other objects and entities where we find divine manifested prominently? What is the reason of presenting the other items? Shankaracharya says the reason is that everybody is not fit, or they may not be able to understand the depth of this first verse. Seeing the same Atman in everybody may not be possible for so-called a beginner or a person who has not matured much in spiritual life. So, is he then going to give up his spiritual practice? That is not the case. It is for such a person that Sri Krishna is saying that, okay, don't worry. If you are not able to see the same Atman residing in everybody, in that case, listen, I am giving you some alternatives, some other options. You can fix your mind on these objects. Try to see divinity in these special manifestations. It is a training of the mind, as I said. When we continuously train our mind in seeing the divine in these so-called special manifestations, ultimately we will land up here. Ahamatma Gudakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Stitah. A time will come, by constant training, we will be able to see the same Atman throbbing in every living entity. In order to reach this point, this climactic point, Sri Krishna is presenting to us these different so-called divine manifestations. And then we see Adityanam Aham Vishnu, Jyotisham Raviran Shuman, and it goes on. These things we have seen. So we have seen till verses 26. Now in that very series, let us take up the 27th verse. The 27th verse says, Uchai Shravasamashvanam Vidhi Mam Amrutodbhavam Airabatam Gajendranam Naranam cha Naradhipam. He says, Ashwanam, among the different horses. Now see, horse. You may wonder why Sri Krishna is talking about horse. As I said, he is taking special or selected items from different categories. Horse. Horse represents tremendous energy. Any doubt? What energy you see in horse? Lightning speed. And it's a great helper for the human being in so many ways. We use the horse in so many ways. It's such a wonderful creature that has been used in the history by human beings in so many ways. So among the horses, Sri Krishna is saying, I am Uchchaishravasam Ashwanam Vidhi Mam Amrutodbhavam. And from where this is not an ordinary horse of this so-called worldly plane, this earthly plane. This is a horse, divine horse. The horse which was born out of that great event called Samudra Manthan. We all know that event, where the gods and the demons, they churn this so-called ocean of existence in order to bring out the nectar, Amrita. Is it not? We know that story. And in the process of this churning the ocean, many things come out from the so-called the bosom of the existence itself. That ocean is a representative of the existence. It is the Brahman which is being churned, and from that the entire Srishti is coming up. Everything comes up. Good and bad, everything comes up. Nectar also comes up. It's a beautiful picturization of the Srishti itself. We may just brush it aside saying that it is mythical, mythology, not reality. These are all great representations of facts of existence itself. How is this creation coming about? A great churning is going on. A churning which brings out this entire Srishti itself, from which everything comes out, good and bad and everything, and nectar also comes out. So from this so-called Samudra Manthan, this churning of the ocean, one of the things which came out is this divine horse, heavenly horse. It is not the horse belonging to this earthly plane, which is known as Uchchaishravasam. Sri Krishna says, I am that. Now this actually, the horse belongs to Indra, the lord of all the gods. It is Indra's special horse. As I said, one thing we should keep it in mind. The last class also, as I said, many of the things, as I said, it doesn't belong to this human plane of existence. We should not be thinking that this is the only plane of existence that is there. That is the problem with our vision. We have been groomed and trained and educated to think that whatever our senses are revealing, the entire cosmos is that much alone. This is going to be the biggest superstition. There are several spheres of existences beyond the sensory realm about which we have absolutely no clue. So these are the things belong to the different planes. So this horse belongs to a different sphere. A horse belonging to Lord Indra, who lives in a different sphere. This horse is a majestic horse. So Sri Krishna says, among all the horses are great. It is not that Krishna is saying that divine is not manifested in other horses. Divinity is manifested in everybody. But I am specially manifested in this divine horse, which is known as Uchchaishravasam. So beautiful. How Sri Krishna is slowly helping us to see the divine in everything. Divinizing everything. So beautiful. So Ashwanam Uchchaishravasam. Uchchaishravasam Ashwanam. Vidhi Mam Amrutodbhavam. Udbhavam. born from that, the great event of Samudra Manthan. Airavatam Gajendranam. From that very Samudra Manthan, another creature which came out was this Airavatam, which is known as elephant. Again, this belongs to Indra's elephant. It's a white elephant, divine elephant. So, among all the so-called elephants, Airavatam, Gajendrana, it is Indra's elephant, white elephant, majestic elephant. So, among all the elephants, I am Airavatam. And then what? Aranam cha Naradhipam. Among all the human beings, I am the Naradhipa. Nara Adhipa, the ruler of all the human beings, means king. What such a beautiful point it is. In a righteous king in any society, divine is specially manifested. I'm talking about a righteous leader of any nation, even in this earthly plane also. We have some very great, extraordinary leaders we have seen in the history, is it not? They have been the leaders of the society, working day and night for the good of the subject, working day and night, giving their everything for the good of the society. Such amazing leaders, Sri Krishna says, there I am specially manifested. So beautiful. Where you see such amazing leadership, somebody who is a king, who is day and night working for the good of his people, such a leader, I am specially manifested there. Beautiful point. Naranam cha Naradhipam. Among all the so-called human beings, I am the Naradhipa. Naradhipa means I am the king. Then, Ayudhanam aham Vajram, he says. Ayudhanam aham Vajram Dhenu namasmi kamadhuk Prajanaschasmi kandarpaha Sarpanamasmi vasukihi. Krishna says, I am the Vajram. Vajram is a weapon. Among all the weapons, he is saying, I am the thunderbolt. Ayudhanam aham Vajram. If you take all the weapons, now Vajram, again this thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is actually the weapon of Indra. Indra's weapon is, this is all heavenly actually, not belonging to this sphere. Belong to a different sphere. So among all the weapons, you may now compare this thunderbolt with all the weapons which we have on the earthly plane. All the nuclear weapons which we have. The nuclear weapons can destroy this entire world, entire earth very easily, is it not? But among all these weapons, Sri Krishna is saying that I am that Vajram, the thunderbolt, the divine weapon, which is the most powerful. Again, the principle is what? Wherever we find tremendous majesty and energy, I am specially manifested there. That's why you see, in this so-called weapon of thunderbolt, I am specially manifested there. So see, in everything, Sri Krishna is making us see the divine, even in the weapon. So you may say, the nuclear power, what is that power? It is Shakti. There also it is the divine which is manifesting. On the earthly plane, we can see the nuclear weapons are the most powerful weapons we have, is it not? The nukes. It can destroy this earth several times. The experts say that the number of nukes that we have on the planet today, it can destroy and demolish this earth several times. Tremendous power. It is divine. Inside that, the divinity is specially manifested. Of course, misuse of the power, no. But the weapon has to be used for the right purposes. Anyway, Sri Krishna is saying that among all the weapons, I am the thunderbolt. Dhenu namasmi kamathuk. And Dhenu nam. Dhenu means cow. Among all the cows, I am the Kamadhenu. Again, this Kamadhenu is something which has come out of that very Samudra Manthan, which is the cow which the great sage Vasishtha had with him. And this Kamadhenu's speciality is that this Kamadhenu is that divine cow which is the fulfiller of all your wishes. Whatever you wish, that gets fulfilled in and through this cow. So Shankaracharya in his Bhashya, he says, it is not only this divine cow called Kamathenu, even the general cow which we have, which is giving milk, is divine. The beautiful statement Shankaracharya says, even the so-called, the general cow which we have in our society, that is also divine. Now why? Now see, this is a very important point which we have to think about. Why is that we Hindus consider cow to be so sacred? You see the statement here. Because cow is the one creature of which every part of that animal is so useful for the so-called everything, not only to the human beings. It is a blessing to the society actually. Every single part, ingredient of this creature is so sacred. There is nothing unholy in that creature. That is the beauty. So this has been the vision. And cow has got a kind of an organic connection with the human society. Now today we have become very modern, ultra-modern. In earlier times, no society could have been thought of even surviving without cows. Agriculture, cow, cattle, they are all inseparable. And every single thing of this cow is supposed to be divine. It is said that all the gods and goddesses reside in the cow's body itself. So see, this statement is very important. Sri Krishna is saying that among all the cows are divine. But among all the cows, I am Kamadhen. So we can understand why in Hindu society, in Indian society, cow is so sacred. Today we have become modern, we would say, why are we worrying about it? No, there is a sanctity to it. It's a very important point. But unfortunately, this also should be stated that though it is all, we talk about cow being very sacred. If you just look at the condition of many of the cows roaming around the streets, it is so painful. They don't even get proper food to eat. That is the condition today. Of course, now things are slowly changing. Many people are becoming aware of it. But this is the kind of conflict which we can see in Hindu society. On the one hand, we say that cow is our mother. At the same time, we treat them in many, unfair manners, unfair way. Anyhow, things should change. So here Sri Krishna is saying that among all the cows, I am Kamathe. Denu namasmi Kamathok. Prajanaschasmi Kandharpa. Very important point. Kandharpa. Aham Kandharpa. I am Kandharpa. Kandharpa means Kama. I am the Kama, the progenitor. Prajanascha. Prajana. That which brings about prajananam. So that power which brings about progeny, what brings about this progeny? It is Kama. So Kama is also divine. So beautiful. It's such a big power it is. We are all the products of Kama only. So there's nothing to feel bad about it. The positive side of it. So Kama used to bring about progeny, it's perfectly fine. Only to be a slave of Kama is the problem. If somebody makes it the philosophy of his or her life to remain slave to the Kama, then we have got misled. But Kama in itself is divine. In another place, Sri Krishna says, Dharma viruddheshu bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshab. That Kama which is not contrary to righteousness, I am that. So desires or Kama which is righteous, which has got a positive, creative place in society, that Kama, I am that. It's divine. So everything has got its proper place. Only the misuse of it becomes the problem. So beautiful. So we should understand the force of Kama also in a positive sense. Kama is meant for prajananam. Beyond that, it should not be indulged in. That's all. So beautiful. So Sri Krishna is saying, Prajanaschasmi Kandarpaha. I am the Prajana. I am Kandarpaha, the Kama, who is the great Prajana. Prajana means who brings about Prajananam, progeny, progenitor. Sarpanam asmi Vasukihi. Among the different serpents, I am that serpent known as Vasuki. Now, in that very episode of Samudra Manthan, you may be knowing that it is this serpent, Vasuki, which was used as the rope, the rope to churn the ocean. And the Meru was that Parvat which was being used as the churning rod. And the rope which was being used, which was being pulled by the demons and gods, that rope was this so-called Vasuki. So, he's saying, Sarpanam asmi Vasuki. Among the different serpents, I am that Vasuki. See, here also, in Vasuki, what is the speciality in this Vasuki? See, if you have to churn the ocean, that rope also has to be strong, is it not? Can you churn the ocean with a very weak rope? So Vasuki actually stands for tremendous strength and resilience. If the rope breaks, can the Samudra Manthan be possible? So it is not an ordinary serpent. It is a special serpent which came into existence for this very purpose. A rope which is so strong, which is resilient, which can bear the so-called pain of being pulled in both the sides. So how much strength is required in that serpent? Can an ordinary kind of a thing do this great job? So everywhere you will see the principle, the divine manifested in a special way. There is a lot of vigor, majesty, and abundance of resilience and strength in this so-called serpent called Vasuki. So beautiful. So Sri Krishna is saying, among all the serpents, I am Vasuki. That serpent which was used to churn this so-called ocean, Samudra Manthan. Anantaschasmi naganam varuno yadasamaham pitrinam aryama chasmi yamasayamatamaham. Krishna is saying that Naganam anantaschasmi. Among the snakes, they are a certain kind of reptile. There are different breeds of snakes, is it not? Different breeds of species of snakes we have. Among the different breeds and species of snakes, Sri Krishna is saying, I am Ananta. Now again, it goes back to the great, that picturization where Mahavishnu is lying on the bed of the snake, Ananta. That's why, Vishnu is Ananta Shayanam, that posture. Vishnu who is residing or reclining, he is just lying down like this. It's a beautiful picture. And where is he lying? On the ocean of existence. On that great Mahakarana, ocean of existence. See, it's a beautiful picturization of Srishti, Sthiti, Pralaya. And Vishnu is lying on this Ananta, the serpent. And from the navel of Vishnu, first comes Brahma, Hiranyagarbha. From the Karana, the so-called, the cosmic subtle is born, Hiranyagarbha. And from there, the entire gross manifestation comes out. So one way, we moderns, we so easily brush it aside saying this is all just mythical. They are all the beautiful pictorial presentation of the ultimate facts of life, pure science. There's nothing mythical. The word mythical is very wrongly construed by we modern minds. Mythical means that which is not factual. These beautiful they're all pictorial presentations of great events of this existence itself. How one unbroken existence breaks into the form of the so-called variegated universe, diverse universe, such a complex universe. And how it is happening in different stages. That is what is depicted in this great episode. So, Mahavishnu is lying on that Ananta, the snake called Ananta, which is floating on the ocean of existence, from whose navel of Vishnu, the first Brahma is coming, who is sitting on a lotus. We may say this is all superstitious. It's a Bandha Vishwas. It's all the beautiful picturization of how the creation proceeds from the unmanifested to the manifest. So, Krishna is saying that among all the so-called snakes are also divine. In the snakes, there are wonderful qualities. The reptiles, everything has got a positive role to play in this creation, is it not? Even an earthworm. No human civilization can survive without earthworms. You know the importance of earthworms? No human society, no living being can survive without earthworms. They are the people, the earthworms are those creatures which is keeping our earth fertile. The natural, supplier of natural fertilizer. Without the earthworms, you and me cannot be even alive here. So among all these reptiles, Sri Krishna is saying that I am so-called Ananta. Anantaschasmi Naganam and Varuno Yadasamaham. Yadasam Aham Varuno. Among the different water gods, I am Varuna. Again, you should understand it as, something non-earthly. Do not think that this earthly sphere is the only sphere. Among the different water gods, I am Varuna. Pitrunam Aryamachasmi. Among the Pitris, again, who are these Pitris? Modern minds would say this is all superstitious. No, it's not superstition. After the so-called human being dies, that jiva is born in different spheres, depending upon its karma. As is one's karma, so is going to be its destiny. So Pitriloka, it's a sphere of existence where the so-called jiva goes. So among all the Pitris, the king of the Pitris is Aryama, who is a very noble character, who has got many noble qualities. So Sri Krishna is saying that among all the so-called Pitris or mains, to use the English translation of the term Pitri, it is M-A-N-E-S, mains, not M-A-I-N, okay? M-A-N-E-S, mains. The English word is mains. So, among all the mains, Sri Krishna is saying, I am Aryama. Aryama is that main or the Pitri who is of a great quality. He has got great qualities. So, Pitrinam Aryamas-chasmi. And Yama Sanyamatamaham. And I am the Yama, the Lord of Death. Among all the so-called the maintainers of law and order, those entities who maintain law and order in society, I am the King Yama, the Lord of Death. The Lord of the Death is the one who restrains everything. He is a great restrainer, the one who is the maintainer of law and order in this creation. So, among all the so-called maintainers of law and order in the so-called creation, I am specially manifested in the form of Yama. Yama Sanyamatam. Sanyamatam means one who regulates law and order. Among all the regulators of law and order, I am Yama. Prahaladaschasmi daityanam kala kalayatamaham mriganam cha mrigendroham vainateyascha pakshinam. Beautiful point. Daityanam prahaladascha asmi. Among all the Daityas means those who belong to the category of Danavas, the demons. Among all the demons, he is saying, I am Prahalada, the son of Hiranyakashipu. Now we all know the story of Hiranyakashipu and Prahalada. Prahalada is referred to be the king of all the Bhaktas. Whatever may be the reason, he was born in the family of demons. So what is so special about Prahalada? Why Sri Krishna is saying that among all the so-called demons, I am Prahalada. Prahaladascha asmi Daityana. Diti Vansha, those who belong to the Vansha of Diti. So, among all the demons, he is saying that I am Prahalada. Why? In Prahlada, we find glorious manifestation of bhakti. Actually, bhakti, one can practice bhakti if situation is favorable. Any Tom, Dick, I should not say Tom, Dick and Harry. Bhakti is also not that easy. But if anyone strives, he or she may practice bhakti when situation is favorable. But what do we find depicted in Prahlada's life? Practice of bhakti in the most unfavorable, extremely opposing, unfavorable situation. This boy is practicing the highest bhakti. So this should actually make us, this should make us learn the lesson that we should stop complaining that our situation is not favorable to practice bhakti. That is the biggest lesson that we learn from Prahlada. The usual excuse that what we find, oh Swamiji, my family is not favorable to the practice of bhakti. So many problems, situations are not favorable, so many oppositions. We keep on complaining. You look into the life of Prahlada. What was the kind of surrounding in which he was living and practicing devotion? Unthinkable. Constant threat, literally physical threat. And means no one to support him. Absolute opposition to what he was doing. In the midst of that, his bhakti is what? Ananya bhakti. Unbroken bhakti. Not for one moment he would deviate from his Narayana and his Vishnu. So among all the so-called asuras, aham prahlada. See, what do we find? Wherever you find extraordinary manifestation of something, in Prahlada we find this beautiful manifestation of bhakti in the most opposing kind of circumstance. That is what makes him so beautiful and so important for all the bhaktas to understand. So let us stop complaining that our situation, our surrounding is not favorable for us to practice bhakti. No more complaints. People should not come and complain, Swamiji, my situation is not favorable, my family members are not supporting. You just think about Prahlada and you will find inspiration. You will get inspiration. No more complaints. Even in the worst of situation, you will find Prahlada's mind not deviating from his Narayana and Vishnu even for a moment. That's why Sri Krishna is saying, among all the so-called Daityas, Asuras, I am Prahlada. Prahladaschasmi Daityanam and Kala Kalayatamayam. Kalayatam aham kala. Among all those reckoners or calculators, I am time. Sri Krishna is saying, I am time. Kalosmi lokakshaya krit pravruddho. 11th chapter. Aham kalosmi. Kala is a beautiful term. Here everything is time. Kala. Kalo jagat bhakshakaha. Everything is consumed by time. This is an ocean of time. Is it not? Past is time, future is time, present is time. It is all time. Everybody is in the network of time. No escape from it. Yes, one escape is there. Without that, there is no escape. We are all in the network of time. From birth till death. The network of time. Can't escape it. So, among the calculators, reckoners, I am time. Kalosmi. So beautiful it is. Kala. Kala eats away everything. Your youth, your beauty, everything will go away. Time. Time is the greatest eater. What a beautiful thing it is. Now, how to utilize this time? That is left to you and me. We utilize the time for all kinds of unwanted or spiritually unproductive kind of activities. The result is going to be of one kind. Or if we utilize the time for the right purpose, the result is going to be something else. So, Sri Krishna is saying, Kala Kalayatam Aham. I am that time. So beautiful. You see, now somebody is looking at the clock. It is divine. My eyes are always on the clock, how much time is left. Time. See, how many times we have looked at this clock? Last week also I was looking at this clock. Before that also I was looking at the clock. It's gone, 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 gone. All pervading network of time. Every moment is Shankaracharya. Beautiful. Kala kridati gacchati ay tatapina munchati asha. Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jatare shayana. Iha samsari, kadutustari, kripaya pare pahi murari. Says, Tinamapi rajani sayam prata. Shishira vasanto punarayat. Kala kridati gacchati ayu. Tatapina monchati ashava. Kala kridati. The wheel of time is moving. The wheel of time is moving, and we are all inside that wheel. Sri Krishna is saying, I am that time, which eats away everything. Tadapina monchati ashava. In spite of drowning ourselves in all kinds of so-called worldly worldly pleasures, still the desire doesn't leave our heart. So I am that time. Kala kalayatamaham. And then what? Mriganam cha mrigendroham. Among all the so-called creatures, I am Mrigendra. I am the lion. A lion among all the so-called animals. Among all the animals, ferocious animals, I am lion. Lion or tiger. Both. Shankaracharya says lion or tiger. Why? Again, see, what is the principle? In the lion, what do we see? Majesty, is it not? Absolutely indisputable majesty. Among all the creatures, the lion stands out for its majesty, for its power, strength, everything. What an amazing creature it is. God's creation, divine is specially manifested there. Among all the so-called animals, I am Mrigendra. I am the lion or the tiger. And Vainatayascha Pakshinam. Among all the so-called Pakshis, the birds, I am the Garuda. Garuda is the Vahana or the vehicle of Vishnu. We know that's Garuda. Pavana Pavatam Asmi Rama Shastra Bhritamaham Jhashanam Makaraschasmi Srotasamasmi Janhavi. Sri Krishna is saying that Pavatam Asmi Pavana. Pavana Asmi. I am the air. Air which is among all the purifiers, I am the air. What a beautiful thing it is. You see, in the houses also, we keep our doors and windows open, is it not? When the wind blows, it is a natural purifier. It removes all the dirty things from the room, is it not? If you keep your doors and windows closed, the entire air becomes stale and stinking. So air is the natural purifier. He is saying among everything that purifies, I am Pavana, I am air. And then what? Shastra Bhritam Aham Rama. Beautiful. I am that Raghuvanshi Rama, Dasharatha, the son of Dasharatha. Among all Shastra Bhritam, among all those who wield weapons, that's a beautiful picture of Rama. Wielding weapons for what? To harm others? Never. For dharma. That's a beautiful picture. That is the modern ideal actually. We need the ideal of Rama, the great wielder of a weapon for dharma, dharma rakshana. That is the real ideal of the modern times. There is no other ideal possible. The very practical ideal is the ideal of Rama. Ram who wields the weapon in defense of dharma and for good causes. So among all the so-called wielders of weapon, I am Rama. So beautiful. Rama Shastra Bhritamaham. And Jhashanam Makaraschasmi. Among the so-called different, Jhashanam means among the water creatures. Among the water creatures, I am Makara. Makara means shark. Shark, again you know, among all the water creatures, shark is so powerful, so swift, so strong. A special manifestation you can find. So among all the water creatures, Sri Krishna is saying, I am shark. Srotasam asmi janhavi. And Among all the rivers, I am Ganga. So beautiful. Among all the so-called rivers on this planet, I am Ganga. That is why you see Ganga is held in such a great reverence and adoration. Ganga is divine. Ganga Vari, Brahma Vari. That's the statement, is it not? Ganga is literally Brahman. Everything is Brahman. But we all know, as I said, you see, we should understand this thing properly. The first principle is not to think that this human plane alone is the plane existing, number one. There are different spheres of existence about which we have no idea. Ganga is not an earthly river, actually speaking. Going by Mahabharata or Ramayana or the Puranas, Ganga is not an earthly river. It is a river which has come down from heaven, from a different sphere. We all know the story, The king Sagara, he had his thousands and tens of thousands of his children. The children were cursed by Kapila, and they were all turned to ashes. And now, what will happen to these so-called cursed children who were burned to ashes? The only way to redeem them or liberate them was what? To sprinkle them with the waters of Ganga. Now, Ganga is not an earthly river. She is there in the heaven. Now, she has to be brought down from another sphere to this sphere. We have to bring Ganga from another sphere to this sphere. So Bhagirath, one of the so-called descendants of Sagar, what does he do? He performs great austerity, he prays, and by his intense austerity and prayer, this Ganga comes down. Now, again, the story is so beautiful. If this divine river, Ganga, straight away falls on the earth will be shattered and it will go to pieces. That is the power of Ganga. So, Shiva receives Ganga on his matted locks, and from there, Shiva releases Ganga very softly and smoothly on the plains of earth. And Bhagiratha leads Ganga to the Sagar. That is the whole story. So, Ganga is not an earthly river. It's a river coming from a different sphere. Always understand this point. These things cannot be understood unless we accept the fact that there are different spheres of existences which we are not aware of. Otherwise, we may say that this is all superstition. This is not a superstition. If you believe that Narendranath was one of the Saptarishis, what do you mean by that? Saptarishi, they are living in Saptarishi Mandala. What do you mean by that? A different sphere where great Siddha Rishis, they are sitting in meditation. Yes, they are done. In this manifested universe, there are several different spheres of existences. So these Rishis, Siddha Purushas, fully illumined, they are in meditation there. The so-called Narendra is one of them who has come from that sphere to this sphere of the human beings to accomplish one such great mission. Is this not the fact? Coming down from a different sphere. Now, this is applicable to all the so-called entities, non-earthly entities, which is not visible to you and me. So, this Ganga is one such river. It is not an earthly river. It is coming from a different sphere for sanctifying this earth. That is why, even touching this Ganga, what touching this Ganga? Shankaracharya says, even the breeze which blows from above the Ganga and touching the coastal line, everything gets purified. Shankaracharya's statement, beautiful. In his Ganga Stotram, he says, even the breeze, the wind which blows from above the Ganga, that wind itself will purify everything on the banks. Ganga is considered to be so holy. Sri Ramakrishna used to say, touching the very Ganga water, it is divine, it is not earthly, it is coming from a different sphere. Though today we human beings have totally polluted that, but no, the real Ganga can never be polluted. Again, now, of course, the cleaning of the Ganga is going on. That's a good thing. We human beings, we spoil everything. But truly, if you look into it, the spiritual significance of this river, this is not an earthly river. So, Sri Krishna is saying that among all the rivers, I am the Ganga, the divine. So beautiful it is. So, Srotasamasmi Janhavi. Sarganamadirantashcha Madhyam Chaivaham Arjuna Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam Vada Pravadatamaham. Sri Krishna is saying that Sarganam, in this process of creation, Krishna is saying, what? Aham Adi Anta Madhyam Evacha. I am there in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. It's a very important statement. In the process of creation, everything which is coming into being, coming into existence, each and every bubble which is appearing on the so-called surface of the ocean, every single wave which is rising on the so-called surface of the ocean, in the beginning, in the end, as well as in the middle, it is inseparably existing, connected with the ocean. Ocean is its beginning, ocean is the end of the bubble, and ocean also is the very thing which preserves the bubble for some time in between. So this is a very important statement for all of us to understand that from our birth till the end, none of us are existing separated from the divine even for one moment. Even this very moment, we are all soaked in the divine. See, these are all very suggestive verses. Sarganam Adi Antas Madhyam Chaivaham Arjuna. I am existing in the beginning, in the middle, as well as in the end. Means we are all inseparably connected with the divine at all points of time. So beautiful. Every verse is actually taking the so-called bubbles back to the ocean. We should not forget that point. And then what? Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Among all the so-called sciences, I am Adhyatma Vidya. Sciences, among all the so-called secular sciences, physical sciences, mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, AI, whatever you may say, all these beautiful sciences, but among all that, I am the science of consciousness, science of the Atman. The science of the Atman is absolutely the superior most science, because without this, whatever you do, you may explore everything. See, if you just look into the human history, what has the human being been doing? Initially, as he developed some technologies, he started exploring the seas. He went to all the direction of the seas, the Atlantic Ocean, the Pacific Ocean, Indian Ocean. He went in all the directions to explore the seas. He was not satisfied. Then he went to the North Pole, South Pole, not satisfied. Then he went into measuring the depths of the seas. He went beneath the ocean, did all the exploration. Exploration is going on. Science, beautiful. Human beings alone can explore. He is exploring the depths of the sea, not satisfied. Then he is looking upward. Now, he starts sending rockets up in the sky. Space exploration. It is going on from this earth to different planets, and now it is going beyond the solar system. Exploration. Still, human being is not satisfied. Is the human being satisfied? No matter you plumb the depths of the ocean, no matter you measure the extents of the space, the human being is going to remain unsatisfied till he or she understands who I am. Here comes the science of the Atman, the science of human consciousness. This is the greatest verdict given by the Indian rishis, the Hindu rishis, ages ago. It's a big challenge. Yada charmavat akasham veshtayishyanti manavaha tada daivam avigyaya dukkhasyanto na bhavishyati. No matter what you do in this side, you may explore this nature to the utmost ends, you can do that. But as long as you don't know who you are, there's never going to be end of human misery. It is a challenge. Going to the space is not going to solve your misery. Is it going to? You can go, you can touch the Mars, you can go to Jupiter, you can go anywhere you want. It is not going to solve the problem of misery and suffering of the human beings. That's why Adhyatma Vidya Vidyanam. Among all the science, I am existing in the form of Adhyatma Vidya. God is specially manifested in this Atma Vidya. That's why whenever we are studying Upanishads, we should remember we are straightly getting connected with the divine, straightly, without even any mediacy. That's the beauty of it. So beautiful. And Vada Pravadatam Aham. Vada. Pravadatam Vada. Pravadata means pravadana. Pravadana. Vadana means to talk. Pravadana means discussion. A better word is debate. Among all the debates and discussions, there are different forms of debates and discussions. Among all the different forms of debates and discussions, Sri Krishna is saying, I am Vada. Technically speaking, there are three kinds of debates. One is Vada, other is Jalpa, and the third is Vitanda. Let me just put it in a simple way. Vada is that debate in which two persons are exchanging ideas. Such a beautiful, they are exchanging ideas in order to reach the truth and reality. They are not egoistic. They are not worried about who will win. It is not the question of your standpoint wins or my standpoint wins. Both of them are exchanging ideas in order to reach the truth. They are very happy to give up their own position if the other person's point is right. This is the magnanimity in any discussion. Do we find this kind of a magnanimity in any of the so-called existing debates and discussions that we find anywhere? Everywhere you will find what is going on is Jalpa and Vitanda. You know what is Jalpa? Jalpa is that form of debate in which one person will employ all kinds of dishonest means to prove his point. In any social media discussions you will see two persons debating, and it is completely egocentric. That person wants to prove that I am alone, I am right. My position is right. And in order to prove my position is right, he will even engage or employ dishonest means. This is Jalpa. And Vitanda is worse. In Vitanda, what happens? This person is not even busy, he is not even, bothered about proving his position, even though in wrong way. His only concern is to prove the other person is wrong. Whatever the other person is saying is wrong. It is not right. Now today you will see in Parliament, what is going on is only Jalpa and Vitanda. If the ruling party is saying something, opposition doesn't even want to listen to it. This is pure Vitanda and Jalpa. Let Vada take place in Parliament. Mature discussions between two parties. Mature discussions between two parties meant for arriving at a constructive truth, which will be for the good for the entire humanity. This is actually what this Parliament House is meant for. It's a place for Vada, not for Jalpa and Vitanda. Unfortunately, today all legislatures and parliaments, they have turned into an arena of Jalpa and Vitanda, where the only business is to prove the other person wrong. No constructive discussion is taking place. So even in a democracy, we see there's a lot of maturity required among the human beings to become even a parliamentarian. Two matured parliamentarians debating for the good of the country. If that is the concern, they won't be bothered about whether I win or you win. What a matured level of discussion it should be. India is a country of debaters. Always remember this part. Everywhere there is Samvada, is it not? Guru Shishya Samvada. Krishna Arjuna Samvada. All is Samvada. Our Upanishad is full of Samvada. Vadanam, Pravadanam. It's all Vada. A Samvada which takes place to reach the truth, in which you and my position, your position is not important. What is more important is we have to arrive at truth. This is Vada. She says, Krishna is saying, wherever Vada is there, I am present there. That means Krishna is not present in the parliament today, because it is full of Jalpa and Vitanda. You can see today, one party, whatever it is, I'm not talking from the political standpoint. If the ruling party is saying something good for the country, the opposition will not even listen to it. It will leave the parliament and run away. This is Vitanda actually. That's why no constructive work is being done in the parliament. Today, matured parliamentarians, we need such matured parliamentarians who can discuss for the good of the country. Where is that spirit? This is Vada. Krishna is saying, where there is Vada, I am there. So beautiful. So Vada pravadatamaham. Do we have five more minutes? We can take one more verse and then we can wind it up. Then he's saying, Aksharana makarosmi dvandva samasikasya cha ahame vakshaya kalo dhataham vishvato mukha. Krishna is saying, Aksharanam, among all the letters, I am Akara. Letters means not ABCD, okay? ABCD is very inferior. It is A, A, E, E, U, U, our Sanskrit Devanagari letters. Among all the letters, it is I am A. The first sound is A. Actually, A is the seventh letter in our sequence. A, E, E, U, U, A. If you go by our Sanskrit, our English A will come the same. It will be the seventh one, not the first one. So English alphabets are all unscientific, actually speaking. This is pure science. Our language is also pure science. The science of sound production. Let us not go into it. It's a complete science of sound production. How the sound emerges from this Mooladhara, it is coming up. So the first sound which will come out is and Sri Krishna is saying that among all the letters, I am Why? Again, earlier Sri Krishna had said that Giram Asmi Ekam Aksharam. A few verses earlier he had said, Giram Asmi Ekam Aksharam. Giram means among the words, I am that one word, which is Om. Gira means word. Akshara is letter. So among the words, I am Om. And among the letters, I am A. Now what is the first letter of that word called Om? It is A. It is A, U and Ma. Is it not? The connection between word and letter. Among all the words, I am that root word called Pranava, Om. And the first letter of Pranava, Om, is So Sri Krishna is saying, among all the letters, I am Aksharanam Akarosmi. And Dvandva Samasikasya cha. Now this is again pure Sanskrit. This is all Sanskrit. In Sanskrit language, there is something called samasa. Samasa means combining two words. There are different ways of combining two words. Like there is this Dvandva Samasa, Bahuvrihi Samasa, or Tatpurusha Samasa. Different samasas, different ways of combining two words. So what is so special about this Dvandva Samasa? In Dvandva Samasa, in combining two words, what is happening is that both the words which are combined, they retain their equal importance. Whereas in Bahuvrihi and Tatpurusha, what is happening is one word will become inferior and the other word will become superior. In Dvandva Samasa alone, you will find that both the words, they retain their equality. No word is becoming superior and inferior. So Sri Krishna is saying, among all the samasas, the different ways of combining the words, I am Dvandva, where there is equality. Again, see, beautiful. Equality. Wherever there is equality, no superiority or inferiority, I am there. So, Dvandva Samasikasya cha. And then, Ahame Vakshaya Kalo. I am that Akshaya Kala. That limitless, inexhaustible. Akshay is inexhaustible time. In this transactional plane, time is inexhaustible. I am that time. Dhataham Vishvato Mukha. And I am that Dhata. Dhata means one who ordains the fruits of our actions. Karma and Karma Phala. The Karma Phala Data. One who gives, ordains the fruits of one's own actions. It is I who am that. And I am all faced. All faced means my face is in all the directions. Vishvato Mukha. Vishvato Mukha means my face is in all the directions. Means this divine is everywhere, not only in the front, backward, and all the sides. And I am that Dhata. Dhataham Vishvato Mukha. One more verse and we can finish it off. Mrityu sarva haraschaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam kirti shrirvakcha narinam smritir medha dhritikshama. Sri Krishna is saying here, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. Now see, people are all afraid of death. And death is what? It is sarvahara. So Shankaracharya makes a classification, Dhanahara or Arogyahara. That which takes away your wealth is Dhanahara. That which snatches your health is Arogyahara. So if your wealth is snatched away, something is snatched away. If your health is also snatched away, something is snatched away. But Mrityu is Sarvahara. It snatches away everything. Nothing is left out. If your wealth is snatched away, something is snatched away. Health, similarly, you can think about different items. Something is snatched away from you. Okay, something is gone. But Mrityu is Sarvahara. Sarvahara means that which takes away everything. I am that Mrityu, which takes away everything. So you see, we are all, the basic tendency of all the jivas is what? We don't want to face death. We want to escape death, and we are trying to, there's one verse in the Bhagavatam which says that Martyo mrityuvyala bhita Sarvan lokan, it says in the Bhagavatam, the verse is very beautiful. The term is Martyo mrityuvyala bhita. Mrityuvyala. Vyala means snake. Martyo is you and I. We are mortals. These mortals are all fearful of what? The snake of death. Death is like a creeper which is creeping and coming close to us. Is it not? Death is always chasing us. Even now, the so-called snake of death is behind us. Wherever you run, it is behind you. From the day we are born till the end, the snake of death is continuously. No matter you go here, this loka, that loka, wherever you want to go, but death is behind you. So, Martyo Mrityu Vyala Bhita. Bhagavatam says, this Martyo, this mortal person, he or she is scared of Mrityu Vyala, the snake of death, which is, you can just imagine the snake creeping towards you. You will run away, is it not? Similarly, we are all running away from death. Death in the form of a so-called serpent which is creeping towards you. Everybody is wanting to escape death. And the only way to escape death is Atma-Jnana and Atma-Jnana alone. There is no other way. A person who has found his or her connection with the divine, for that person there is no more fear of death. The only way, only in double quotes and bold, the only way to overcome the fear of death is to find our connection with the divine. So Sri Krishna is saying, Mrityu sarvaharascha. I am in the form of death. So next time when we see death, you have to see divinity there also. In one of his, somewhere it is stated, in Shankaracharya's one movie we have seen, that Sanskrit movie, long back we had seen. There is one beautiful dialogue there, where that small, Shankaracharya's father tells Shankara, that small boy, saying that, Mrityo mitravat pashe. I still remember that dialogue, The Sanskrit movie is there, Shankaracharya's Sanskrit movie, which I had seen long back when I was in college. So impressive it is. Shankaracharya's small boy, his father is telling him, when Shankaracharya is asking the father about death, the father is saying, Mrityo mitravat pashe. Look at death as your friend, not to be scared about. Because that is also a form of God. Usually we are so scared about it. We don't want that part. It is God coming in that form, which takes away everything. Thank God we are dying. Otherwise it would have been a horrible existence in the one body. Thank God we are getting relieved, at least from one body for some time. Though we are not getting liberated forever. That liberation comes only from Atma Jnana. But at least to be liberated from one structure itself is a great relief. Otherwise it is so horrible to be in only one body for such a long time. Is it not? This doesn't mean that we are going to commit suicide, okay? Everything can be misunderstood and misconstrued. What it means to say that death also has got a tremendous positive side. It is relieving that person from so much of pain and suffering. Just imagine somebody is having physical ailments, lying on the deathbed, not dying, suffering and suffering. But death is sarvaharascha. It takes away everything. Even that pain is gone. Is it not? It has got its positive role. So Sri Krishna is saying, I am in the form of that death. So death is also divine. A person who can see divinity in death That person understands reality better way. So, mrityu sarva haraschaham udbhavascha bhavishyatam. Bhavishyatam udbhava. A person who is supposed to be prosperous in future, that prosperity I am. Udbhava means prosperity. I am in the form of that prosperity which is going to come into somebody's life. Prosperity. As I said, wherever there is prosperity, abundance, I exist there. And then Kirti, Shrir, Vakcha, Narinam, Smritir, Medha, Dhriti, Kshama. Beautiful. There are a series of beautiful qualities, feminine qualities, Sri Krishna is saying here. These feminine qualities, I am specially existing in the form of these beautiful feminine qualities. What is that? Narina, among the so-called women folk. In them we find these beautiful qualities like Kirti. Kirti is what? Fame coming owing to your righteous life. I am existing there. Shri. Shri is prosperity. Lakshmi. I am there. Vak. Sweet speech. Women with sweet speech. Sweet speech, honest, truthful speech. I am there. Smriti, memory. Somebody who has got good memory, I am there. Medha, tremendous power to comprehend subtle truths. I am there. Dhriti, great fortitude, the capacity to withstand untold sufferings and unfavorable or unpleasant experience, that fortitude, Dhriti. Women have got, the male, it is said that compared to male, the women have got this capacity, Dhriti, several times more than men. They withstand so many things silently, Dhriti. It's a great quality. Sri Krishna says, I am in that. And Kshama, forbearance, or even forgiveness, both the things, I am in that. Anyway, so we can stop here. So Sri Krishna is saying that I am existing in all this. So beautiful. So these items which we are studying, many of these things, they don't belong to those so-called this earthly plane. So first and foremost, as I said, what we have to understand is, we should not think that this is the only plane of existence which is actually existing. There are many spheres of existences, and all these things are meant to help us to be connected with the divine. Ultimately, to take it back to the first verse, we have to come to that point. Aham Atma Gurakesha Sarva Bhutashaya Sthita. These are all just sample items taken from certain categories. But actually what? I am in the form of the Atman in everybody. And how is this Atman to be meditated upon? It has to be meditated upon as existing in everybody. This is the main thing. In order to get at this, Sri Krishna is helping us with the sample kind of presentation so that slowly we can come to this point. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat.